Welcome to Handi Quilter Watch and Learn. Do you have questions about how to use Pro Stitcher in simulation? We're going to answer them today. I'm Kim Sandberg, studio educator at Handi Quilter, and with me today is
Kristina Whitney, another studio educator.
So we get a lot of questions about how to use Pro Stitcher in simulation on just a regular computer. A lot of you might even be saying, wait, I didn't know you could do that.
What is simulation?
What is simulation? So we're going to answer all of those questions today and also walk you through what you would use simulation for. Why would you take the time to put it on your computer? So let's start with the first big question. What is Pro Stitcher in simulation?
Okay, Pro Stitcher in simulation is the same software that you have on your Pro Stitcher tablet, but you can load it on a computer. And simulation means that you can manipulate everything, but it's just not attached to the motors,
right?
And it won't actually move anything, but you can play around with it. You can get familiar with the buttons and where things are and how to set things up. And it's a lot more comfortable to do that with a laptop or a computer sitting in a nice comfy chair, laying on the couch, rather than standing up at your long arm machine.
I totally agree. It's a great way to just practice your skills.
Yep.
Yeah. So that explains it. So where do we start?
Well, let's go to prostitcher.com. Okay, so we're here at prostitcher.com, and we are going to go to this hardware section and go down to Pro Stitcher. We're going to click on that. And this brings up our user manual section and kind of an overview. So as I scroll down, we're going to keep on going below that diagram. We are going to find a section here called PS Simulation Installation Instructions. So you'll click on that, open it up, and then you'll follow those instructions for installing it on your computer. So now let's kind of skip forward to where you're going to download the actual software. So the instructions are going to tell us to do this. So we're going to go over here to Software, and we're going to come down to Pro Stitcher Studio. Let's click on that. And here we have some different options. We have the latest Connect. We also have some beta versions, Premium, Light, Standard, and Classic. Right now, Classic and Standard are no longer being supported. Those are kind of outdated, but people still have it, so it's still there. We also have the Light version, which is for our Moxies and some of our Simply 16s, and then the Premium. Now, Connect will work Premium and Light. Connect is the newer version that you can connect to the internet, so you can do your downloads and stuff directly. You can get your videos directly from there, and you can also access PS patterns. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to click on one of these. And so we're going to, for demonstration purposes, we're going to click on Premium. It's going to ask me what tablet and carriage charts, but I'm just going to skip down here to the latest version. And I'm going to click on that. And it'll bring that up, and now click on Download.
And that allows you to download that software so that you can install it on your computer and then run it in simulation, right?
Correct. So most computers, it's going to download, and it takes a little while. You can see it downloading down here, but it's going to be a zip file. So you go through the process of unzipping it, and then you can run it on your computer.
And it is a large file, so just know that if you have a little bit of a slower internet connection, it might take even a couple minutes. So don't worry, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
And while it's doing this, let's talk about it coming through as a zip file.
Right.
So a lot of computer systems have that zip file. You're going to have to know how to unzip it on your computer. Most Windows computers will let you click on it and do an extract all.
Right.
Which will unzip it so that you can use it. File Explorer, and open up my downloads. Okay, so right here I'm seeing my PS update, and it tells me those last three numbers, 537.
Right.
And my folder has the little zipper through it.
Right.
So I know it's zipped and I need to extract it. So I'm going to select that folder, and I'm going to right click on it and come down here where it says Extract All. Right. And I'm going to select that. And that's going to tell me where it's going to extract it to, and I'm glad, so I'm going to hit extract, and then it's going to go through the process of opening that folder for me. Once it's extracted, I now have two different files. One is the pre-install, which you can run if you haven't already run it before, and I'll go through that. And then the second one is the update. So I'm going to click on this pre-install, and it is going to come up with this nice little prompt here. I'm just going to click yes.
The answer is always yes.
Yes. Okay, so now we have this other window that pops up, and I'm going to hit start.
Right.
Oh, look, I got a little thing that says it's already installed.
Okay.
If you get that, you're going to click OK.
Right.
If you don't get that, you will follow the rest of the instructions that are on that initial handout that we showed from ProStitcher.com.
Right.
And that will walk you through just the steps for doing the pre-install. That's just putting the stuff on your computer so that your computer can run the program.
Exactly.
Okay, installation is completed. So I'm going to hit close. And just reiterating, that was just the pre-install.
Right.
Okay, now I need to actually download or open up the actual update.
Okay, Kristina, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
Should you always run that pre-install?
Just the first time that you're going to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Once the pre-install's been done, it's been done.
Okay.
So obviously my computer, I've had it installed before, so that's why it keeps saying it's already there. Okay, I'm going to double click to open the update. We're going to get another little yes, that is your answer. Yep. Yes.
It's always yes.
Okay, so here I'm going to again hit the start button. I'm going to confirm that I want to install it.
And this process here can, once again, it can take up to a few minutes, just depending on your system. So just be patient.
It's finished.
Woo!
Okay, once it says finish down here, installation's completed, we're going to hit the close button.
And
it just automatically goes in and opens up the software.
right.
Okay, so this is what ProStitcher simulation looks like. Pretty fancy.
Pretty familiar.
Yes.
If you're used to using ProStitcher.
It's the exact same thing. We do have one button over here called Simulate, and you'll notice that the crosshairs are green.
Right.
Green means you're in simulation. It means it's not connected to any motors. You can't do any stitching with it.
You'll also notice that up in the right-hand corner, the motors have the S with the green lines through it.
Exactly. So if you happen to put your tablet into simulation and you're having some issues, check and see what color are my crosshairs.
Right.
If they're green, you've got something going on there. You need to turn off the simulation. Okay, so let's go over just a couple of features with the simulation.
Right.
The first one that I want to do is point out this button right here, Simulate.
Right.
So if I click on that Simulate button, that allows me to now go over and click on my crosshairs, and I can drag my crosshairs around.
Right.
When you're at your machine, you're physically moving your long arm machine to move those crosshairs. We can't do that here. So click on the Simulate button, click on the crosshairs, and that's how you can move them around. Okay? If you want to do other things like mess with the design, you have to go back up to the Select tool.
Right.
And one of those buttons is going to need to be selected at all times.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of a way that you can get around in simulation. Another couple of settings that we want to talk about. Let's go up to the Settings tab. One is the display.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring in a design, and I'm also going to turn on my grid. So I'm going to go to my View tab and turn on my grid. Okay, so looking at my screen, that actually looks like a circle to me.
It does.
And the grid looks like squares.
Right.
That is a good thing. But depending on your monitor, it may not look like that. So we're going to go back again to the settings and the display. And we're going to come down here to the monitor settings on the right-hand side.
Right.
And I'm going to show you what it looks like sometimes if your settings aren't correct, and then show you how to set that up properly.
Okay.
So I'm going to change the height of my monitor to, let's say, 12.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'd have to restart it. Come on. 1, 2, enter.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay,
So,
wait a minute. Your circle just turned into an oval.
yes, because the aspect of my monitor does not match
screen.
what I've got set up for Pro Stitcher, the screen and everything. So if you do happen to open simulation and you're getting funky stuff like this, your design's not looking the way it should,
Right.
all you have to do is take a tape measure, and you can take it across your screen. So I'm measuring with my tape measure. So the inside of my monitor, where the screen is actually at, it's 11.25 wide,
Okay.
which if you look over here, I already have 11.25 for my width.
Okay.
My height, I'm going to look at that one, that is 7.5 inches tall. So that was just using a regular ruler to physically measure my screen. So I'm going to change that height back to what it was, 7.5, enter, and now everything is back where I want it to be.
Very nice.
So that's your first thing. If your designs are distorted, check under your settings, display, and your monitor settings. Okay? One other button is this touch button here. And if I click on that touch button, my icons become a little bit smaller. They don't have the words there. But if I'm using a mouse, I can click on those pretty easy.
Yes.
So if you're at your screen or at your tablet though, you want to make sure that touch is turned on, and then you can actually touch it with your finger. Okay? So those are some of the fun parts of using simulation. And Kim, you want to show us some of the ways that you use simulation to actually set up a quilt?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's one other thing.
Is there one other thing?
There is one other thing.
Okay, what's the one other thing?
There's always one other thing that I forget. When you load Pro Stitcher onto your computer, it's a free download off the internet. And so the designs don't come with it.
That's right.
Otherwise, we'd be giving away all of our designs for free.
Which we don't do.
Okay, so when you purchase your Pro Stitcher, you should get a little USB that comes with it that has all your designs on it.
Yes.
If, however, you can't find this USB, you can just get any old USB and take your instructions that you downloaded for installing simulation. On the very back page, it has a note about how to copy the designs from the Pro Stitcher tablet to a USB and then transferring it to your computer.
Exactly.
So we're going to take this USB and I'm going to plug it in here.
Okay. So that you can have the designs on your computer.
Correct. Yep. So I'm going to minimize this down. Okay, I've opened up my File Explorer and now I'm going to come down to my USB drive and I'm going to open that. And it should have a designs folder on that that includes all of the designs for Pro Stitcher, whether it's Pro Stitcher Premium or if it's Pro Stitcher Lite.
Right.
So each one will have its own folder. Okay, I'm going to take that folder now and I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to drag it over to my local disk C.
Right.
And it's going to copy over to my local disk C, and if I open up that local disk C, you will see now I have the designs folder.
Right.
And if it's on the local disk C, that is where Pro Stitcher looks for the designs.
Right.
So it has to be in that designs folder on that drive, then you'll be able to pull those designs into Pro Stitcher.
Exactly. Everything will work together as expected.
Yes. Okay, now that we've got it all set up, Kim, do you want to show us how you use it?
Yes. All right, I've got my computer hooked up now so you can see what I'm doing on the screen. I just want to show you, so there's two different ways you can open on your computer depending on how you have it set up. This is what the logo is going to look like on your screen, the icon on your screen. And then I also have pinned to the bottom of my screen here this little PS. So either one of those, just depending on how your computer is set up. Now I wanted to show you this. This is going to pop up every time.
Yes.
And the answer is yes. It's always yes.
There's no way to get rid of it. Just click yes.
Just click yes. So we'll let it go ahead and open here on my computer, and it's going to take a second because there's a few things to open up. And then I'm going to expand it so it fills up my whole space. Now you can see, just as Kristina mentioned, I'm in simulation, and we know because I've got my green crosshairs. Okay? So I just want to walk you through really quickly, like a way that you would actually use simulation other than just practicing and playing around. I like to go in and set up quilts. So I'm going to go in and open a design, and we'll pull in my designs folder here, and let's just go find a fun simple continuous line design. Actually, I'm going to go down here to Darling Up. There's one here. This mango chain is a fun one to play with. So this is a really simple design, and it's fun to play with as an edge-to-edge design. Okay. So let's set up my area so that I can get this quilt rolling. So just like when I'm using Pro Stitcher and I'm ready to stitch with it, everything works the same. So I'm going to click on area, and I'll do a 2-corner. Now, because I don't have a quilt to actually move my crosshairs to match up with, the easiest way here is to do a 2-corner and then come over and click in width, and I'm going to put in that this is a 60-inch wide quilt, and then my height is going to be 90. So we'll just make a nice big quilt. And then I want to tap refresh so I can see what I've got rolling on the screen, and I'm just going to move my crosshairs there just out of the way so you can see. So this is my design to go ahead and fill. I want to repeat, so I'll go to repeat. I've got basic, and I'll click fill and play with it. Now that's a lot of design, isn't it, Kristina?
That is.
So you know what, I'm actually going to do a little something first. This is actually a great way for you to be able to see what the density of the quilting will be. I can go in and look and say, you know what, I want to make this design bigger because I do not want to have my entire quilt quilted that densely. So I'm going to click no repeat and then go in and just modify this design by itself. So I'll go into modify and do resize, click on lock, and you can see that the height of this design is 1 inch. No wonder there were like 90 rows. I'm going to change this to, let's make it 4. So we'll do 4. And okay, so I've got a much larger design to play with now. I want to baseline that design, and then we'll go back to repeat and do a fill. So we'll set that fill up there. Okay, I like that density a lot better. Once again, it's great to be able to see this before I am going to be standing at my quilt looking at it. Then let's go play with wrap. So I have horizontal selected, and here on row, I want to offset these. So I'm going to click the half button, and it will offset those by half so that every other row is offset that half. And then I want to bring these designs a little bit closer together. So I'm going to, oops, I was reducing the wrong gap. I need to select vertical and reduce the gap here so that I bring the designs a little bit closer. Now you guys will notice as I'm doing this, I'm starting to get some empty space there at the top, but that's okay. And I'm actually going to bring this clear down so that those ovals are almost touching. Now, let's go back to my basic, and I'm going to add more repeats vertically. So I'll just start clicking, and it's going to go ahead and fill those up. Looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. So this is a great way to just do a simple setup of a quilt. To get an idea for density, I know about what size I want to work with. I could at this point save this. I could go to File and do Save and save it, for example, as a workspace or selected onto a USB, and then I can take it to my machine and set up my quilt and use it that way. So that's one way you can use Pro Stitcher in simulation. You can set something up beforehand and take it and use it to stitch out. So that's a great way to do it. Another thing that can be fun to do is to set up a quilt with maybe a few more steps. So let me show you how I just try out doing a border and then putting a design on the inside. I've got a couple of tips for you to help with that. So we're going to close just the design. So selected, and I'm going to keep the same area.
Okay.
And let's go in, and I'm going to open, File Design Open. I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to do. PS Designs, open the blocks, and I'm going to go find my square. is it the 4 square? I'm trying to remember. Which one's just, oh, right there, square 4 by 4. Okay, I'm gonna open this one up. So I've got this tiny little square here. I want to have a placeholder for the outside of this area because I'm going to essentially, as I'm setting this up, I need guidelines along the way to show me where my border is, where the inside part is. And I can't do that with areas because you can only have one area open at a time.
Okay.
So an easy way to keep this outside perimeter and then I can change my area is just go to, with my design selected, we'll go to modify and do skew. And I'm just gonna skew that square so that it is where that area is now. It's skewed to it.
So if you turn the view of your area off, then we can see what the design looks like now.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's exactly the same size. Yep.
So you're building a quilt.
Yes, I'm building a quilt. Exactly. So I'm going to baseline that design. Okay. And what I'm going to do over here in my sidebar, you see that square 4 by 4 is selected. I'm going to click on rename. And I'm going to clear that name, and we're going to call that the outside edge. That way, as I start adding more designs here, I know what that one's called.
Okay.
Okay? So let's go in and clear that area. And then what I want to do is set up another area inside of here that is a little smaller. And this is where turning on the grid can be helpful. Now, when I'm zoomed out this far, it looks a little crazy. But what I'm going to do is grab my zoom here, and I'm just going to move in right here so I'm a little closer to it. Let's grab my select, and I'm just going to drag that design. I'm going to grab my design and move it over just a little bit. Okay. So that it is square to that corner there.
And you could also use the reposition nudge tools.
I can, absolutely.
If you're having a
hard time grabbing things,
Yeah.
like I am there. So modify, reposition, and we'll move that down just a little bit so that it is lined up. Okay, now to set up my next area, I want to come in 4 inches. So each one of these squares is an inch. So I'll set up another area, I'll do a 2 corner, and I'll come in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to set my, I need to grab my simulate button, and I need to just put it right, let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, right there. I'm gonna drop my first, move my crosshairs right there, and drop my 2 corner.
Okay.
Except I already had one, so we'll do another one right there. And then I will put in my width. So Kristina, help me with some math here.
Okay, was the original 60 wide?
60 wide, so I'm doing a 4-inch border all the way around, so I need to take away 8 inches.
52.
So 52, thank you. 52, and then what would my height be? It was 90
82.
Before, 82, okay. This is why we keep Kristina around, because she can do math and I can't. It's not the only reason. Okay, I'm gonna go back to view and turn off my grid, because I got things lined up. But you can see there, now I can clearly see where my area, my outside area is with that new inside area. So the first thing I'm gonna do is pick a fill to put inside this area. So let's go to File, Design, Open. Do you have, Kristina, do you have an edge to edge that you like, a go-to one?
There's a quick one that's just down there. Blustery Breeze is one that we usually use.
Let's grab my continuous line. Blustery Breeze is a great one. Let's do that one. Okay, and then we'll fill that.
Okay.
So we'll go to Repeat, and
when you're doing a design like a border to border, picking that continuous line design is really, really important, because you want ones that aren't going to be like doing nesting and crazy stuff, unless you're going to crop, and then you, there's things to take into consideration when picking a design to go inside of a border.
I 100% agree with this. This is a good one because it's pretty simple the way that the two connect together. Now, just for showing you this, because right now really what I'm doing is auditioning designs for this, I'm going to just use my stretch to make that fill, okay? So I used it on both horizontal and vertical. And now you can see that I've got that design inside there. So let's go back and pick a border to put around this. So let's go to File, Design, Open, and we'll choose something from the corners here. Let's pick something that's going to have a little bit of contrast there. How about if we do some hearts?
Hearts are always lovely.
Hearts are always lovely, aren't they? Okay, because I want to move this design up here, I need to click on my select because I don't want to move my crosshairs right now. I just want to move that design, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that up there. Then I'll use my zoom in a little bit, and I can go into modify and reposition and move that design around just a little bit to make sure that that's going to fit inside there. Now, just a note, I am setting this up here. I am not going to just save it this way and take it to the machine and stitch it out. I will take the time to set the border up and make it fit. But when you're using Pro Stitcher and simulation like this, it's really about auditioning to see if you like the design. So I've got that one. It actually, it fits quite well. So I'll go ahead and hit refresh again. And because that design is looking really great, I'm going to hit baseline and then go to edit and duplicate it so that I have a second one. Once again, hitting my select button so I can grab that design up here and I can drag it over. And I will use my modify, rotate, and I'll rotate that so that it will fit right in that corner. And then I'll just zoom in again and we'll go back to reposition and just move it around a little bit.
And now in this particular scenario, usually I would use a line, but we don't have that outside area to align it to.
Exactly.
So using that reposition is another way to do it.
Exactly.
So utilize all of those tools that are available.
Exactly. Yeah, because I do have that area inside here. Aligning doesn't quite work there, does it? Okay, so now I've got those two corners in place. Let's go ahead and open the connecting design that I can put in here just to see what it looks like. So let's go into open and go back to my continuous line folder, and then I've got to find that heart design.
Heart border, you passed it.
Oh,
heart
I
border
did.
2.
Is it the 2 or is it the 3? I think it's the 3. It's heart border 3.
Oh, that's the number, the picture I was looking at, but I just couldn't read the number.
Oh my gosh, are we going to have to start wearing glasses
when
we're doing
we both
computer?
already know the answer to that. Yes.
Yes, we do. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so that this top border is right there along there. And let's go in and do a little bit of repeating. I want to make sure and turn my stretch off, use horizontal, and I'm just going to do some repeats across the top here to get an idea of about how many repeats I'm going to have. Once again, when I get in and quilt this for real, I am going to know, okay, I'm going to have to do a little bit more positioning there, a little bit of making things fit exactly what's on my quilt. So at this point, if I'm setting this up, this is enough for me to be able to take this, then take the ideas I've got here. I can say, yes, I really like this. And then I would save it as a workspace. So I'd go to File, Save, and Workspace. Then I can save this to a USB, take it to my machine, and I may not use exactly the designs the way I have them here. I'm going to make them fit exactly. But it helps me remember which designs I have, the area size that I was working with, all of those basic building blocks. So these are a couple of ways that I like to use simulation. They just help me figure out the scale, deciding, auditioning designs, just playing around with some of those tools, keeping me entertained in the evening when I'm sitting in my lazy boy with my nice laptop in my lap. Yeah. It's just a fun way to do it. I also really recommend, if you're new to Pro Stitcher, sitting down and just playing with all of these tools like this, it's a great way to get familiar with it, figuring out how everything works together. All the different things you can do, and there's no pressure because guess what? At any point you can go in, select the file tab and hit clear all and start over again. You haven't stitched anything, you've been able to just play with it and have some fun. So yeah, that's really what I love about simulation.
Yeah, I think it is a great tool for new pro stitcher owners, and even those that want to do more intricate, like edge to edge, where they're mixing and matching and doing all sorts of fun things, that you can play. That's the key. Play with it. Get familiar with it. Get comfortable with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much it. If you have more questions about how to use simulation, always recommend that you reach out to your retailer. They might even have some classes that are being taught in simulation, so you can develop some more skills to use it. We appreciate you watching today. Be sure to stick around and watch some of our favorite quilts that were tagged with hashtag Handi Quilter from Instagram this week, and have fun quilting.